Hey guys, and welcome to the third episode of Stories of My Life. Today, I'm gonna take you all back to middle school days. We all remember middle school. It's the time of your life when you're in between elementary school age and high school age. It's the puberty years. They're very awkward, very cringeworthy looking back, but at least we got enough memories to really kind of reflect on and look back. And I'm going to talk about some of the teachers I had. Now, I like some of my teachers. I like a good amount. There were some I couldn't stand. I'm pretty sure if I was able to find some old notebook from back then, you'd probably find like some of those teachers, a doodle of them being eaten by a shark. I'm just saying, there's some teachers I just didn't like. They were either really crazy or really strict or really bitchy. But one teacher I had in 6th grade was a French teacher named Mrs. Bryce. She was kind of nuts. And I mean, like, she was actually pretty crazy. And not in a good way. Not like Mrs. Frizz, eccentric crazy. I mean, like, kind of scary, crazy-ass bitch crazy. Anyway, I remember one time we were taking a French test. And after you were done with your test, you just put it up in the front. You put it inside of a little box or whatever. And then you just sit there quietly until everybody else is done. Not like college, where, thankfully, when you're done, you get to go home. But I didn't have a pen that day, and I asked Miss Bryce, hey, miss, is it okay if I borrow a pen? Because I don't have one. And she says, yeah, sure. She gives me a pen. Not a marker, a pen. But there's no pen in this car. But she gives me a pen, and I sit down, I take my test, write omelette du fromage, je voudrais chocolat, whatever the hell the test was asking. And I turn it in, and I just sit there with a pen. Now, I probably should have turned in the pen at the same time. See, I don't even remember if we actually turned in the test or she picked it up. But that's irrelevant. Point is, I'm sitting there with nothing but the pen, just being quiet, and she passes by, picks up the pen from my desk, and just walks to her desk and puts it there. About 5 minutes later, she comes back and says, where's my pen? And I say, you already took it. And she says, no, I didn't. Where's my pen? And I go, Miss, you just walked by and took the pen like 5 minutes ago. And she's very insistent that she did not do that. And she goes, you are lying to me. Where is my pen? And I go, you've already taken it. And then she just finally says, you know what? Fine. Keep it. I'm never lending you a pen again in my life. And she just sat down on her chair. And that was that. And that's when I realized what a crazy bitch she was. And a little story didn't happen to me, but it happened to my cousin, who had the same class. Okay, she taught both French and Spanish. And I say same class, like a different, not the same period as me, not the same class as me. She took her a year before I did. But she taught Spanish and French. So if you had Spanish, she was likely going to be your teacher. If you had French, she was also likely to be, she was the only French teacher. There were probably at least 2 or 3 Spanish teachers, I believe. But she was one of the Spanish teachers. And one day, my cousin goes into his class, and he's just, they all sit down, and she writes on the board and goes, ahora vamos a comenzar, blah, 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 speaking Spanish, and everybody's all like, they're just quiet, and she continues in Spanish, like teaching, even though it was a French class. And then finally, a girl in the back says, Miss Bryce, this is French class. And then, you know what she does? She goes, I know this is French class. You think I'm stupid? Now, let's begin. Open up your textbooks. Like, bitch, admit you're wrong and just laugh it off. But yeah, she was one crazy old lady. She could be nice at times, I think, but otherwise she was kind of batshit crazy. I remember that same class, we had a substitute, and I did not like this substitute at all. He was a prick. Well, we were doing our work or whatever, and I all of a sudden start hiccuping. I go, hiccup. I just hiccup, like, about 6 or 7 hiccups. And then after the last hiccup, I burp. So it goes, like that. Not a terrible burp impression, but I burp. And all the kids start laughing. And I'm laughing too, because I sure as hell didn't expect a friggin' burp. But the substitute's not laughing, and he tells me, young man, go to the assistant principal's office. I'm like, are you serious? But I don't argue. I just get up, grab my bag, and I walk down to the assistant principal's office. He says, what's wrong? And then I say, yeah, the substitute sent me over here because I hiccuped and I burped. And I wasn't playing around. I wasn't, like, trying to make people laugh. I wasn't goofing off. I sincerely hiccuped and burped. And then he just goes, okay, just go back to class. And I just went back. And I remember there was another, 8th grade, I had this teacher named Mrs. Geller. And I did not like her. She was a math teacher. I already hate math, but she was a real bitch. So, math plus bitchy teacher, yeah, did not like her. I remember one morning, a friend of mine brought this pink hair dye, like some kind of gel that you put on your hair and it dyes it temporarily, and it was pink. And then my other friend grabs it and, as a joke, puts it over my hair. So I got pink hair. I didn't care. I also put on eyeliner that morning. See, I was going through like a kind of goth phase. But I had eyeliner and pink hair in my head. And I remember it was second period, and my school we did odd and even days. So odd days it would be 1, 3, 5, 7. Even days it would be 2, 4, 6, 8. So second period technically means the first block of the day, and that's when I had Mrs. Geller. And as soon as she sees me, she says, "Go to the bathroom, wash that out of your hair, and wash your eyes out. You're not coming in here looking like that." Yeah, that was probably like my most badassness I ever had in school, wearing eyeliner and pink hair. But I did not like that teacher for anything. That story aside, I just don't like her. And then another little story. It was the 8th grade picnic, and we went to the beach, and there was this lifeguard stand on the beach, and there was no lifeguard there. It was kind of abandoned. I don't know why, but it was. I was with a couple of friends up there, and they were each taking turns jumping from the lifeguard stand to the sand below. And like the first 2 guys that jumped landed fine, but this friend of mine got up there, and he jumped, and as soon as he hit the ground, he started screaming and flailing his arms, and everyone thought he was like joking around. But soon we realized he wasn't, so he got down, and turns out he landed pretty bad and broke his leg. Like, if you could see his ankle, like the bone actually sticking out. It was bad, and that was pretty gruesome. Yeah, they called the ambulance, they picked him up, took him to the hospital, and then from the rest of the school year, he was in a wheelchair. I don't know how he is now. Hopefully, I doubt he's probably walking again, but hopefully he's a lot better. But that was pretty crazy. And I was actually on the lifeguard stand, looking below as he jumped. I wasn't gonna jump. I was just watching people jump. You know, with my luck, I would have split in half like a splinter. Those are my stories in middle school. I know I wasn't the craziest kid, but I think pretty much almost all of these revolved my French teacher. She was something else. Well, I guess those are all the stories for today. Hopefully, next time I'll have some more interesting ones to share. And Halloween's coming up. Starting to decorate the house. So I got some spooky stories coming up in the next coming weeks, so stay tuned. Bye-bye.